Today, we're going to talk about hooking two consoles up with the Stagebox. And we're going to use the new firmware 4 and route the signals where we want without worrying about blocks of 8. Welcome to the audio workshop. Today we're going to talk about the Behringer X32 and M32 by Midas version 4 firmware. We're going to connect two consoles together and a Stagebox. We're going to have an X32 at front of house and an X32 Rack for the monitors. It'll be on stage along with the Stagebox, which is an S32. The monitoring console was in between the Stagebox and the front of house. And the reason we do that is if we put on an S32 another console on its B port, we can't send signal back to the outputs, nor can we send the signal back to front of house. In this case, the X32 was not only the monitoring console, it was also a sub mixer for a stereo set of keyboards and a stereo guitar. This is the original scene list from when I set up the two consoles. We had a couple of late additions to this year's show. We added 2 violins, an extra cello, and at the very last minute, an extra flute. I generally tried to keep front of house and monitor console to be the same, but I had to do some shuffling at the last minute. This is a stereo guitar and keyboard part, submixed off the monitor console. Second layer, we have 4 wireless mics. Then we have 2 choir mics that come off the stage, and 4 more wireless head-worn mics. Both wireless were set at the front of house console to monitor the battery levels. Bass was remapped from the previous layer, and narrator was moved from channel 29 to 32. We're going to look at the routing now. Our inputs. These are all forwarded from front of house. We used AES50B as the input. 1 through 8 and 9 through 16 were just the same. We had to use user ins to do some remapping so that we could have local inputs and AES50 inputs. And this is what our user in maps look like. These are our local wireless mics. We have 4, and then 2 choir mics in between, right here. These are from AES50 from the Stagebox, and then 4 more wireless mics, and then a few more other channels that came from the stage. And with the user ins, it's easy to accommodate last-minute additions. The flute was a last-minute addition. This is what is being sent out from the front of house console, sent to the monitor console. Since we're connected with AES50, we're only concerned about AES50's outputs. We used the user out in order to send just the local microphones back to the monitoring console. User out was used to send a variety of signals back to the monitor and Stagebox, including the left-right mix, the subwoofers, which were routed through a pair of matrix, so we could use its highly advanced crossover. And we were able to send the 4 stick wireless mics, and the 4 head-worn wireless mics back to the monitoring console. We have 4 light wireless microphones right here. In addition, local 23 and 24 are also 2 of the wireless microphones, and then the 2 next channels there, local 25 and 26, are also wireless microphones. Those are the matrices, which are sending the subwoofers back to the stage. The main bus, left-right, is sent back to the monitors and the stage box. The monitoring console did all the complex routing. It split all of the signals, forwarded everything from the stage back to front of house. If you want to have 8 pairs of in-ear monitors, it's not a problem if you have a monitoring console. Here is the monitor section. We'll just look at the monitor buses right now. We have our in-ear monitors, our wedges, and then there's also a piano monitor. Our main left-right, which we could have used for monitors, but we ended up not using. These are just the bus masters. Let's look at our inputs. 1 through 8 and 9 through 16 are straight from the Stagebox, AES50B. And then the others are split between front of house and the Stagebox. This is where we use the user ins. Let's look at the user ins. Here we go. 17 through 24. Most of these are actually returned from front of house via AES50A. 21 and 22 are choir mics from AES50B, which is the X32 Stagebox. This bank are 2 wireless microphones and left and right being returned from front of house. And these are signals from the Stagebox forwarded to front of house. This next section is our AES50 section. This is how I would have forwarded my signals from the front of house and sent them through the monitor section into the Stagebox, but I chose not to use that. I just used the X32 Rack instead for all of my outputs, since they are right next to each other. On this next section, I used AES-A 1 through 8. That was straight from the stage directly through the monitors and then to the front of house. I remapped the last 3 banks, and here are the user outputs. The first one, because I didn't use it, I used it for something else. This is how I sent the subwoofers and the left and right back through the console from front of house. The other 3 banks, 9 through 16, this was mostly directly from the Stagebox, except for 9 and 10, which was a submix of a stereo guitar and a stereo keyboard mix. These 2 stereo guitar and keyboard were submixed using auxiliary ins, removing them from the left-right bus and assigning that subgroup assigned to channel 13 and 14 through the source remap. This is how I sent the choir mics from the stage up to front of house through the monitor mixer. This is how I forwarded 2 drums, the narrator, and it was supposed to be another drum, but we didn't use it, and the flute from the monitor to the front of house. This is how I sent the left and right bus of the monitor console to XLR out 7 and 8. Turns out I didn't use it, but this is how I routed them. Bus 9 and 10 were the keyboard and guitar stereo submix, which were forwarded using user out. This is how the XLR outputs on the rack, the monitoring console, was set up. The first 4 are just normal 1 through 4, and I used user outs for 5 through 8. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel. I have other X32, M32 videos on here, plus some other audio-related functions. If you want to learn more about perhaps the most confusing part of the X32, M32 routing system, take a look at another video where I show you how you use the Out 1 through 16 tab under the routing menu. If you have any other questions, comments, or want to see any other videos, please leave it in the comments.